we're going to take a look and finish up 1.5b here. We're going to do some examples. So this is 1.5b examples. So all those notes are already filled in. If you didn't have them filled in, just pause the video and finish that up right now at the top. So we're going to do some sketching. So we want to do sketching in the order of vertical shift. Then we want to do the amplitude, then the period, and then the horizontal shift. So we're going to talk about a vertical shift being added or subtracted on the outside of this. Well, there's nothing added or subtracted on the outside. Horizontal shift, well, I'm going to I need a starting point, and so that's x minus pi over 4 equal to 0. So I'm going to add pi over 4 to both sides, and I get x equals pi over 4. Then I also need an ending point for that horizontal shift. So here's an ending point. We've got x minus pi over 4 equals 2 pi. Add pi over 4 to both sides. And I'm going to write this as x equals 2 pi plus pi over 4. And so I ended my normal 2 pi, and then I moved to the right pi over 4. Well, if you remember your transformation idea, inside moves things right and left, the opposite of what you think. So this is going to move it right pi over 4. So if you remember that, then you didn't need to do all that work because you know that this is going to move right pi over 4. Then we're going to put the amplitude. The amplitude is the number in front. Well, that's a 1, and so the value of 1 is 1. The period is the number in front of the x, so that's 2 pi divided by 1, which is just 2 pi. So now I'm going to go through and I'm going to plot these things on the graph. So I've got a vertical shift, doesn't exist. I've got an amplitude, so it goes up 1 and down 1. I've got a period from 0 to 2 pi. And so that's my period. But I also have a horizontal shift. So this actually started here at pi over 4 and ends over here at 2 pi plus pi over 4. Okay, and I move this to the right, pi over 4. So I'm going to take out this period because I know that this ends a little bit farther than that. Okay, and if you have two different colored pencils, leaving it in there is just fine. Okay, just know that I'm going to make the graph here on the blue one, not on the green one. So then I've got everything put on here. This is a sine graph, so it starts at the bottom, but it's going to start at the bottom after my shift. So it starts at pi over 4. That's my start. That's what I found to be the start right here. Okay, so it starts pi over 4, and it ends over here at 2 pi over 4. Halfway in between, and halfway in between each of those. You can label those if you wanted to. The second one would be labeled pi over 2 plus pi over 4 because I shifted it pi over 4. The normal one goes through pi over 2. My next one's going to move it over pi over 4 because of my horizontal shift. Then the second one usually goes through pi, but I move this over pi over 4, so it's pi plus pi over 4. And then the third one usually goes through 3 pi over 2. I add pi over 4 to that, and I end up at the next point. So now this is a sine graph. It doesn't have any negatives in front, so it's going to go up and come back down, and then end at the bottom where it kind of started again. So I go up and down to the bottom of the amplitude and back up. And there's my graph for sine of x minus pi over 4. And you can go ahead and you could use a graphing calculator to double check, make sure that these places are what they say they are. So here's the second one. So on this one, I've got a vertical shift. That's this part out here, a +2. So this is going to go up 2. Okay, and so let's go ahead and put that on this line right away. So I've got this goes up 2, and that's going to be my new midline. So I'm going to draw in my new midline. Okay, that's where my new midline is. Then let's continue in the order we want to graph these in. So let's do the amplitude next. Well, the amplitude is absolute value of 3, which is 3. So from that midline, I'm going to go 3. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, which means I'm actually up here at 5. And I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, which gets me down here at -1. Okay, and so my whole graph has shifted up. Next, I want to look at the period. So the period is 2 pi divided by the number in front of the x, which is a 1. And then the horizontal shift here is anything that's added inside with the x, and there's nothing. There's nothing on the inside there. Okay? So I don't have a horizontal shift. I'm just looking at the vertical shift part. So now I've got a cosine graph. So the cosine graph starts at the top. So it starts at the very top, which is up here at the 5. This ends over here at 2 pi, and it ends again at the top. That's where it's going to end. I've got places in between, halfway and halfway in between those, where this is going to cross the new midline. It doesn't cross the x-axis, it crosses the new midline. And then it comes down to the bottom of the graph, the lowest point, bottom of the amplitude, and then comes back up and crosses the midline again. So this graph looks like this. It comes down and goes back up and then starts coming back down again. Okay? So sort of like a V shape, so there's kind of a little maybe scripted V there. Okay? But that covers everything that we needed in that problem. The next one, I want to name all these things again. So my vertical shift is this number out here. So that is going to go down 2. So let's put that on my graph here. This goes down 2. That's my new midline. Then I've got an amplitude of absolute value of -4, which is 4. So this is going to go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 from that midline, and up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 from that midline. So I actually end up up here at 2 and down here at -6. My period is 2 pi divided by pi, which is 2, rather, not pi, 2. And so this is going to go in a period of 2. So now I'm going to find my horizontal shift by doing my starting point. I'm going to do pi x minus 1 equal to 0. So I add 1 to both sides. Pi x equals 1. Divide by pi. X equals 1 over pi. And so now this new starting point is at 1 over pi. So I need to place that on here. 1 over pi is my new starting point. And then my new ending point is pi x minus 1 equal to 2 pi. Add 1. Pi x equals 2 pi plus 1 over pi. And I can simplify this a little bit. I can do 2 pi divided by pi is 2, and then 1 divided by pi is 1 over pi. So now thinking about what this looks like again, I shifted this to the right 1 over pi. That's how far I moved it. So this point is going to go over here to 2 plus 1 over pi. That's all that happened is I moved it 1 space to the right. Well, because I want just my 5 points on here, I'm going to take out that period, that old period, and I just shifted this to the right 1 over pi. So now this is a cosine graph, but there's a negative in front. Cosine usually starts at the top of the amplitude. This is going to start at the bottom of the amplitude. So it starts down here at -6, and it starts at my horizontal shift at 1 over pi. I've got places in between. I've got halfway, halfway, and halfway. This is going to come and cross my midline, come up to the top of the amplitude, cross my midline, and then come to the bottom. Okay, so this graph looks like this. Goes up, and comes back down. And we've got a nice upside down V slash a nice wonderful mountain. Part D, I'm going to go through and do those same things. So I want a vertical shift. That's a +3, so that's up 3. So my new midline is going to be up 3, which is here. Then I'm going to do an amplitude. So the amplitude is absolute value of -1, which is 1. So this is going to go from that midline, it's going to go up 1, and it's going to go down 1. So I'm actually here at 2, and 4. Okay, and that's where my values are going to go. Now this is going to be a little bit squished just because of the fact that we had this midline that moved up already, and we're only going at an amplitude of 1. So then now I want a horizontal shift. I'm going to look at my starting point at 2x minus pi over 2 equal to 0. So add pi over 2 to both sides and divide by 2. When I divide by 2, I actually get pi over 4. So my new start is actually here at pi over 4. Oh, my period, I forgot my period. 2 pi divided by 2, which is pi. So my period is pi. If you have caught on to what the pattern is here, this is shifted right, pi over 4. So this is going to shift right to pi plus pi over 4. But I can get that by doing my end. So this is 2x minus pi over 2 equal to 2 pi. Add pi over 2. And I get 2x equals 2 pi plus pi over 2. Divide that by 2. Run out of room. So I get x equals 2 pi divided by 2 is pi. Pi divided by 2 divided by 2 is pi over 4. So it's pi plus pi over 4. Just like we planned, this is going to move to the right, pi over 4. So now I can take out this old period because I don't need that one. This is all going to fit between pi over 2 and pi plus pi over 2. Cut that in half, cut it in half again. This is a sine graph. Sine starts at the origin, so that starts at my midline. It's got a negative in front, so it's going to go down first and then come back up. Whoops, I didn't do my horizontal shift here. It starts at the midline after my pi over 4 shift. So it's going to go down to the bottom of the amplitude, come back up to the midline, go up to the top of the amplitude, and come back down to the midline. And so this is a little bit scrunched graph, but it follows the same type of pattern that the other ones have done up to this point. Okay, it's a nice sine graph. We'd be able to zoom in if we did this on the calculator, and you are more than welcome to go ahead and graph the regular function on the calculator, graph this one, and then see how they change. But you need to know that your calculator probably will turn it into decimals, and we don't necessarily want the decimals. We want to leave this in terms of having these phase shifts in terms of pi's instead of in terms of decimals. So this is probably the toughest section that we're going to do, and you have to put in your time. Okay? You have to take the time to go through and make sure that you understand how to find each of these things first. And then once you have found them, being able to put them on the graph. And this does not come by you watching this video. It does not come by you watching me do them in class. It does not come by your neighbor watching your neighbor do them. It comes to you by working hard. Okay, this is a hard work section. You got to put a lot of effort into it, and that effort will pay off in the form of a good test score and a good understanding of how these graphs work.